Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Today, I've got some Vatican conspiracy theories lined up for us. Let's watch some stuff.
What else are they hiding in the Vatican archives? In the 1920s, there was a Russian professor named Gingrich Ludwig that was given access to the Vatican archives. And as he was exploring the 12 centuries of European history, he came across something rather peculiar. Well, you'll see. In his journals, he documents that he came across the section of ancient books that spoke about star people that came down in crafts, who taught ancient civilizations everything, from how to build the pyramids to the calendars that the Mayans use. However, that wasn't the craziest part. It was said that these beings taught humans about weapons, which they tested on Babylon, and ended up melting the walls with the amount of energy and heat it produced. Was that the first documentation of nuclear weapons? And if the Vatican is keeping this from us?
It's very popularly theorized that religions do cut out a lot of information from the past to help protect the narrative that they want to portray. And they, it's said that they do it to protect the people. When in reality, I don't believe that it's protecting the people at all. It's protecting their stature. Because if people knew, okay, well, we have this documentation about these aliens that have been here and had all of this other cool stuff way long time ago, is going to be a problem with what we're trying to portray now. Yeah. The Vatican knows about aliens. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If you're having a good time, won't you hit that like button and let me know you're here? Also, it'll really help out my channel. If this is your kind of content, there's a subscribe button somewhere too. It's on one of these little places over here. I don't know where it is on your screen. But yeah, you can hit that and then come back tomorrow because I'm making a new episode every day.
The Vatican doesn't want you to know about this time device. In 2002, a book was released by a man named Francois Brune that revealed that time travel may already be possible. Well, you see, he claimed that in the 1950s, 12 world-renowned scientists actually cracked the code on time travel with the ability of harnessing electromagnetic sound waves that had been emitted in the past. He went on to show further proof with a photograph of Jesus's actual crucifixion. However, when questioned about the whereabouts of the device, he mentioned that the Vatican came in and confiscated it, and denying that anything of the sort ever existed. Interestingly enough, in 1988, the Vatican passed a law stating that anyone caught in possession of a device with time travel capabilities will be excommunicated. If the chronovisor was not real, then why was a law such as this passed? What is the Vatican afraid of?
So the chronovisor is a pretty interesting thing. If you check out the Y files, AJ does an excellent video on it. Plus you can search it in like TikTok and Instagram and get like these little grainy black and white videos. Sometimes they're in color of like biblical events that are happening as as they were watching them through this chronovisor. It's a little similar to the looking glass technology that we talk about, like we got from aliens. So perhaps it came from aliens. Right? So it only looks back into the past. And it's a little sketchy. I don't know how accurate I really think that is, but it is interesting how the Vatican put out that particular law that you can't possess these instruments. But if they don't exist, why would we need the law? It's like the warning tag on like the toaster oven. Don't put it in the bathtub because someone did it once, right? If there's a law against it, somebody must have done it or had it, right?
There's a hidden secret deep underground the Vatican archives. Some people have talked about it after getting into those archives. They can't say exactly everything they saw, but there was a man who appeared on a history documentary channel years ago. He talked about finding bones of creatures that weren't human. To them, these weren't human bodies. There were also books and texts down there that nobody has ever been able to read or access. These documents discuss technology, including flying devices and other remarkable things that were concealed during the Inquisitions. The Inquisitions were incredibly brutal, resulting in the deaths of over 80 million people over a span of 700 years, with orders often coming from the popes themselves. This repression significantly hindered progress, as we could have potentially reached the moon by the 1800s if it weren't for the limitations imposed by the Inquisitions. Many people remain unaware because they fail to research and delve deeper into the translations of ancient texts. Even the Sinai Bible, with its 14,000 variances from the King James Version, offers insights. Notably, the absence of the crucifixion narrative in the Sinai Bible suggests that this aspect of the story may have been added later.
All of the cool things that were just mentioned there aside, it makes me think of the Smithsonian. It's like another version of the Smithsonian, an older version of the Smithsonian, right? Because the Vatican has been like a thing forever. But the Vatican is in Vatican City. It's its own little thing, right? Just like here in the United States, we have Washington, D.C. It's its own little thing. And there we have the Smithsonian, right? Where all kinds of stuff is believed to be just hidden away from us. So these two entities, they're hiding stuff away from our past, just deleting a little bit at a time. And then the next generation is like, oblivious to the fact that these things ever existed, and they can just carry on with the new narrative. That's an interesting thing. So we have the Smithsonian, the Vatican. I know there's got to be other archives like that where they're just like kind of putting things away. I just am unfamiliar with any of them at this particular moment.
The Vatican is likely the most corrupt institution in our world. The Vatican is no stranger to murder, child trafficking, drug trafficking, sex exploitation, and cover-ups. Arguably one of the most famous basilicas in the world, underneath it lies a mass graveyard. So located about 5 stories beneath the basilica is actually another temple dating back to the Roman Empire. That's over 2,000 years of dead bodies. If you're wondering if those bodies are of Christians or Catholics, they're not. It was actually used for pagans. And here are some of the mosaic tiles that they found beneath the Vatican in the temple that it's built on top of.
I was not aware of that. And I don't know what to say about it, really.
This is Pope John Paul I, and he died 33 days after his election. Now, the conspiracy around his death is that he found out the Vatican was laundering mass amounts of money, and he was going to rectify the situation of getting rid of everybody in the Vatican that was corrupt. His plans were announced straight after he became the Pope, and he died 33 days later.
That's pretty common. It's really no surprise that it happens, inside of the most religious, organization in the world. Right? Somebody gets elected and they're going to be like, hey, you're all doing this wrong. I'm going to expose you. And they're like, no, you're not. Like in Boeing, right? We had 2 whistleblowers just freaking disappear. A lot of things happen. They're like, hey, I have this great invention. No, you don't. No, you don't. Wait, what? All right, I'm gonna find something that explains that a little bit better, because that's pretty cool.
The tunnel running from the Vatican and into the depths of the earth yielded an incredible amount of gold. The tunnel is almost a straight shot to Jerusalem. The real flying distance is 2,306.03 kilometers, or 1,432.90 miles. The length of the tunnel is approximately 1,500 miles, meaning it passes beneath both land and sea. A massive amount of gold, stacked 13 stories high, was discovered within the first 150 miles, 241 kilometers, from the Vatican City. I'm not sure what 13 levels high refers to, but it certainly seemed like a lot to me. Many books or manuscripts were discovered alongside the gold hoard, and some have speculated that they were biblical books that had been looted. Do I think that? No, because that's pure speculation. I'm just reporting what Charlie Ward heard about the Vatican findings. You may recall that when the coveted 19 pandemic first struck, Italy was one of the hardest hit countries. Italy's authorities are frantically trying to stop a second wave, and the news on that front has been all over the newspapers lately. The number of cases covered by an Italian newspaper in a single day, 19, reached a record high, and the alliance was formed. During this time period, the United States government and military were working together to destroy the 13 bloodline families and the Vatican. They had to keep the world focused on the virus so that they could clear out the tunnel and attend to other pressing matters. A total of 650 airplanes were needed to transport all the gold that was extracted from the tunnel leading to Jerusalem.
We've talked several times about how there's huge distraction going on over here, and a lot of times it is orchestrated. And while the people are looking over here, this little thing is going hush hush back there, right? And this thing is way bigger than this thing that they're putting in front of our face, but we just can't help but look. It's like a train wreck. We're like, yes, look at it. But that's what a lot of people believe the COVID-19 pandemic was when it comes to this gold. So everybody was focusing on the pandemic getting shut down. Italy was the first hit, the hardest hit. That's where the gold was found. They shut down first, and then all this gold, is supposedly being removed from wherever it's being removed. And this huge tunnel is found, which is an incredible story. I try to look it up, and I'm not finding a whole lot of, backing evidence. I'm finding some, but not a whole lot. And it is a very, very interesting theory that the Vatican is hiding all of this. Why? Maybe it's the gold. Maybe it's all the gold that was mined when the Anunnaki were here, and then they left, and we just kept doing it because that's how we were programmed. That's an interesting theory. And then they just kept hiding it away. They're like, oh yeah, they still need it. Hide it away because one day it's going to be, worth something, especially with everybody's desire for it. Oh, wow, that's clever. All right.
The Grand Grimoire is purported to be a secret book stored in the Vatican archives. It is considered a real book because the Vatican claims ownership of it, but has never allowed anyone to view its contents. Allegedly, the book was discovered in the tomb of Solomon in 1750, yet it bears the date, 1522. The author of the book, Honorius of Thebes, is said to be Satan himself, or possessed by Satan for the purpose of writing the book. Some theorists suggest that the book possesses supernatural qualities, as it cannot be torn, burned, pierced, penetrated, or otherwise damaged or destroyed. It is claimed to be the only book containing the knowledge of a precise ritual for summoning Satan and other powerful demons. Additionally, the book is said to include precise information about the locations of biblical relics, and even contains Satan's personal sketches of the faces of Judas Iscariot and Jesus Christ.
Just like the thousands and thousands of... There's a mosquito in here. Okay, so it's mosquito season here in California, and we have these tiny little microscopic things. They're not like the giant bald eagle-sized mosquitoes that are everywhere else. You can't freaking see them. You just hear, and then you feel it. So I got bit by one, I think. Probably. Anyway, so just like the other thousands of books that I'm sure they're hiding under the Vatican in these miles and miles of tunnels that they need to hide away because. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.